Nanny, it looks like it's one big party up in heaven.
It's fantastic. I loved it.
Well, I'm glad you're having a blast in heaven, but life has been very confusing for me and I've had some serious issues. It hasn't been an ideal family like Leave It to Beaver. I know the Beav had his problems, but compared to mine, you wouldn't believe it.
Boy, look at all the books telling what's wrong with kids.
Yeah. Boy, I never knew we were so creepy before.
Well, we're not really creepy. We're only creepy to our parents.
Gee, I don't think my parents think I'm creepy.
Well, sure they do, Beav. It's just that they don't talk about it when you're around.
Hey, look at that book. The Awkward Age. What's the awkward age?
I was traumatized the first week of birth when a kosher butcher, aka the Moyle, cut off part of my penis. It was as though he was cutting a pickle. Mama la, Tata Zisa la, Mama Shayna. Here's part of your penis.
It's fantastic.
Everything is fantastic with you, but you don't know what happened. Well, take a look at this photo of me, brother Jeffrey J., and mother Adeline. I sucked my finger until I was 12. Mom breastfed me until I was 2.5 and then abruptly stopped and left me with a babysitter to open a dress shop. In my 20s, during psychoanalysis, with a disciple of this man, Dr. Sigmund Freud, I discovered as a child I developed an Oedipus complex. I wanted to kill this man who inseminated my mother. They called him Speedy in the gambling circuit. He was a womanizer and a gambler who barely said a word to me. I don't think he liked me, and I sure as hell didn't like him. On Monday morning, I'd find out in high school what kids lost money to him at the local pool hall.
Just sit right back and you'll hear a tale of a fateful trip that started from this tropic point aboard this tiny ship.
At the age of 12, I stopped sucking my finger as I became infatuated with Castaway Ginger. Despite Philip Morris's brand cigarettes, Marlboro, L&M, Chesterfield, and Virginia Slims possibly contributing to millions of deaths, it was their sensitivity and understanding of the demographic market that brought such pleasure to prepubescent boys. Nanny, brother Jeffrey J. also developed issues as a young adult. He suffered from crybaby syndrome. Mother Adeline also breastfed him until he was over 2.
What can I say about somebody who I love and respect more than anybody else in this world?
He said it all.
He's one of the only men in my life and I really tried to warm myself after. I love my brother very much.
When Speedy moved out, Mother Adeline's partner from her Haute Couture dress shop, Glielzatis, moved in. Soon afterwards, Mother Adeline and Mother Glielzatis became lovers. I was raised by 2 lesbians. I became preoccupied with the male phallic symbol, and as a form of protest, I would dance with penis glasses on. Dress for Sex became quite successful in the 1960s and 1970s. Some of the employees started a group, Dancing Lesbians, and toured the East Coast clubs during this period. Nan, It was wild in our house. All these women running around half naked. And even you were running around half naked. You insisted on wearing this schmatta lingerie when we reenacted a scene from the Pink Panther. I was serious. I wanted to be Inspector Clouseau. And then on Passover dinners you served in a brassiere, and the screaming is still pounding in my head today. I wrote a short story about this in my book, Gefilte Fish in the House of Bedlam. Don't you realize this behavior is inappropriate? Have you ever eaten smoked gefilte fish, not with a traditional horseradish, but with a couple of cigarette ashes on top, billows of cigarette smoke in the air, served by a Jewish grandmother who wore a brassiere as a blouse, with a Viceroy cigarette dangling from her lips? The next portion of the meal Nanny served was the gefilte fish. Every time you finished one gefilte fish, plop, Nanny threw another one on your plate. Nan, that's enough with the gefilte fish, I said. Abyssal, eat in good health, Nanny replied. Mildred, enough is enough, screamed Zayda. Nanny, please stop smoking the cigarette when you're serving. Please, I asked. You just got an ash on Gary's plate. Oh, the Kanaker is telling me how to serve. Sit down, Sam, demanded Nanny. Give me the plate, Zayda yelled. Get out of here, screamed Nanny. At the edge of the tub, Zayda got down on his knees, holding a wooden mallet in his right hand. And as the water drained from the tub, the carp began gasping for air, flopping around in the tub. Bang! Bang! Zayda tried to hit the carp but missed. We were standing at the entrance to the bathroom as I looked over at Gary. He was mesmerized. Hit it in the cupola! Hit it in the cupola! Nanny yelled. Shut up! Screamed Zayda as he killed the carp with one firm knock on the head.
Larry, being raised by two lesbians in a non-traditional household, what was it like, and how has this affected you?
It was confusing growing up without a traditional father figure. It was one big party in my house. I mean, there were lesbians and transvestites and transsexuals running around the house half naked, partying, changing into costumes. Quite an experience. Now, don't get me wrong. Mother Adeline and Mother Glealzatis, they were loving parents, but I didn't have a male identity. I became obsessed with lesbians. In fact, in high school, my first girlfriend was a lesbian. At the time, she was bisexual. And then I began going to lesbian bars. I had this wild fantasy that I was going to convert a lesbian. I was in psychoanalysis for years, and I'm trying still today to come to terms and resolve my sexual identity. I was having a conversation with my alter ego, and I realized I was fantasizing about coming here and trying to convert a lesbian. I think lesbians are more artistic than heterosexual women. I was getting rejected in heterosexual bars. I was rejected by eHarmony. After years of psychoanalysis and drug therapy, I voluntarily committed myself into a psychiatric facility in which I received electroconvulsive therapy. Seizures were electrically induced into my brain. I wrote about this in my book, Sex Psyche. I'm doing much better now.